Hi Pisces, so I'm here to do your weekly reads. I did just kind of want to take a moment and let you guys know I am so sorry for all of this. We actually had a huge blizzard outside today, like a serious blizzard. It's kind of up to my knees at least, in certain places even higher than that, like up to my waist. So it is a serious snow. I don't know if you guys get snow all the places that you guys might be watching from, but definitely just had to go wipe the car off really fast and make sure that everything is still running all right and not frozen. So in any case, I just wanted to. I'm a little bit frazzled still from. I have a good time in snow, so I was playing a little bit too. But in any case, I'm going to use the universe deck, and we'll get you guys some preliminary cards. Just switch this back a little bit so I've got some space. All right, and we'll see what we can get for you guys here. These are huge cards. I think I've said this about a billion times now. I'm just going to go ahead and see what flies out on its own. Yeah, so hard to shuffle. So in any case, what can we get for the Pisces, please? Okay, first card out is Satellite, which is attraction in reverse. I'll show you the cards as soon as I get all of them out on the table for you guys, but just give me a second. We're going to let's do 4 cards here, and then we'll get clarifiers. I'll probably use my Amun Ra deck to do that, and then we can discuss. So, okay. This guy kind of pops out here. Okay, the 4 forces. The weak force is evolution, and that's in the upright. Okay, this guy kind of wanted to pop out. We've got star cluster, which is friends in reverse. And, oh, okay. And active galaxy, which is turbulence in the upright. So attraction in the reverse, which is satellite. So you may be feeling like, satellites actually, typically like man-made satellites, revolve around a planet or an Earth or a moon or out in the solar system somewhere, observing things, kind of just taking pictures, gathering data that is then sent back to the planet Earth and is given meaning depending on what kind of information it is. So we go take dirt samples from places like Mars and then bring it back and kind of do analysis. We've got satellites around the moon of Europa. We've just got a whole bunch of different satellites. But in terms of attraction, this may mean that you're not really, necessarily enjoying something that is happening at the moment in terms of an attraction between you and another person, you and an observatory force, you and some type of a planet of some type. And by planet, I definitely mean like a person, place, or thing that you might be working on at the moment. And the weak force of evolution is kind of saying that you were maybe hoping more so for something to evolve in a positive way, or to maybe the information that came back from the satellite attraction that you might have been feeling. The satellite might have been circling something, or I don't know what in your life, and you'll know for yourself, Pisces, but you might not actually be enjoying much of the evolution that has come of that observational process. Yeah. So I'm just noticing my eye is drawn directly to the ring around this deep blue. So I'm just seeing that, you might feel a little bit like your emotions have been trapped on the inside, or somehow kind of pinpointed in a way that you did not expect, or that you may not have appreciated. Sometimes when you are let's just give an example here of when you're doing a project for school or something like that. If you are in a group project, then everybody has, a common goal, which would be the middle here, the center of this evolutionary process. Obviously, there is a beginning, a middle, and an end associated with that process. And with evolution itself, it's something that's a continuous ongoing kind of thing. So if what has happened for you is that the satellite has been circling the project, or all of the members of the team have been circling the project, you might not necessarily feel like everybody is contributing an equal amount, that everybody actually has an affinity to the project as much as you do, or maybe they have a different viewpoint on things. This is also coming up across as a cornea in an eye, or some type of a cranial, entity for some reason. You may not feel as though this is something that everybody was on the same page about, and that the actual project itself has then suffered in has become a weaker force, because of the fact that there's maybe too much circulation or input going on around that specific ideology that you had in mind. So I think that happens to a lot of people, and it just has a lot to do with negotiating a way for everybody to rebalance and refocus their energy on whatever project is at hand. So that's kind of what I'm getting off these two cards. The star cluster of friends in reverse kind of is an extenuation of exactly what I was talking about there. So just you can kind of see that all of the stars in the star cluster have their own specific glow and their own specific space to exist within. When you're doing a project all together, or when you're trying to execute a stronger force rather than a weaker force, there can be a frustration that you don't have enough space to do, kind of spread your wings and fly the way that you'd want to. There can also be a little bit of a resentment towards one another, not in an overarching way that's going to last forever, but just more so trying to say, hey, as a team, I wish that we could be a little bit stronger in the way that we work together, instead of, perhaps beating each other down or trying to outdo each other with our thoughts, our ideas, our input in whatever it is that you're working on here that you perceive as a weak force at this time. And the turbulence, the active galaxy turbulence card, just kind of reiterates all that I've just said. So, if you're on an airplane flight, you might feel as though, you'd like to have the window seat so that you can see what kind of, traffic and world and water, bodies of water, etc. you're flying over as the satellite or as the airplane. And maybe you wanted to have the window seat or something like that. You had a very specific idea of where you wanted to sit in the airplane. And because you didn't get that seat, you feel claustrophobic or somehow stifled in a way that you were not actually expecting to feel stifled. I know I certainly always prefer the window seat just so that I can have the option about whether or not to have the blind up or down, but that's just me personally. You guys will know how that applies to your specific situation or life at this time. And maybe because of the fact that you did not get the seat that you'd like, you don't really feel like being friends with the person next to you because they're keeping the blind open and you wanted to take a nap. Or maybe you wanted to take a nap on your last flight, and this flight you'd like to have the window blinds wide open, and that's not happening. So even though you don't necessarily dislike crying children on planes, it's not anything personal. You might not feel as friendly towards the person who's causing the discomfort, or has some type of a different agenda than you do when it comes to the turbulence. Maybe you feel somewhat seasick, somewhat airsick, somewhat claustrophobia can sometimes make people feel that way. Whatever turbulence you're feeling here, it looks like it's actually become an active source of contention for you, whatever that might be, and might actually end up impacting a friendship or the development of a potential relationship between people, coworkers. This could be, you know, peers that you're in, people you're in school with. I don't know how this applies to your life, but it just seems like there's definitely been some type of a disruption that you're not enjoying anymore, and that you're feeling like is weakening your ability to move through a situation smoothly. So whatever that is to you, you will know how to apply it. I'm going to go ahead and grab my my Almond Raw deck. I'm going to give it one little shuffle so that we can make sure everything is up to par. And then we'll go ahead and see what we can do to get you guys some further clarification on what this all might be in context. So, all right, so for satellite attraction, please, for the Pisces, can I please have some clarification? So this one really just wants to pop out, and it is the blessings card in the upright. So I'm just going to take it as it was. Sometimes the cards don't pop and sometimes they do. So whatever comes out, comes out. So I'm seeing, you know, obviously if you're not feeling like the attraction between you and a person, you and a project, you and a specific scenario is as strong as it could be, then that obviously can feel like it's not a blessing. It can feel like you're unable to bring any kind of positivity out of that. However, I think sometimes it is equally as good to know what is not working for you. And that actually is a blessing. It's a lesson. So I know that it's sometimes uncomfortable to kind of feel like, okay, you know what, I'm not really feeling I'm not really feeling this anymore, but that actually is a blessing in disguise, because it means that you can recenter your energy elsewhere and are able to refocus on something that you might have a lot more of an affinity towards or an attraction to. Let me get one more card here. The next two cards did come flying out, but let me just get this last card out and then we'll discuss. All right, so the next card, the four forces, the weak force, came out with lucky in reverse. Okay, so I don't know why I'm seeing a peg, like literally a peg here, and a shoe, like a playing horseshoe. You might not feel as though you are strong at whatever game, whatever project, whatever relationship it is that you're trying to foster at this time. Even though you're realizing that, you know, there might be a blessing in disguise just to be able to walk away from something unscathed, that does not necessarily mean that you are going to leave without feeling disappointment, that you're going to be able to overcome feeling a little bit weaker because of it. You know, I think everybody has had a situation with a friend, a family member, or otherwise, you know, a lover or something like that, where when you walk away, your heart is broken, but you also feel as though there's something else coming, something bigger, better, a brighter day on its way. And I think that this is largely kind of what I'm perceiving here. If you can kind of disconnect from the feeling of being weak because of your feelings of, you know, this is really unlucky and I don't know how to fix it. If you can kind of disconnect from that energy signature, then I think you're able to kind of free yourself a little bit, or, you know, if these more red, orange, yellow kind of colors here represent the beginning of the rainbow. So let's just look at this as being the beginning part of the rainbow. If you're able to take off the horseshoe, then you can also experience a lot of freedom. So that more emotional kind of peg here in the middle will be able to be set free. And that's something that could be a lot easier for you to digest emotionally. You know, the colors of the earth have, you know, obviously green and blue, but also white. If you look at the cloud cover and some of the weather patterns that they can see from space, at least. And I think sometimes when you're stuck in trying to make something fit a certain mold or a certain ideology or a certain mindset that you've already kind of come up with a prerequisite to this whatever project it was, it sometimes leaves you feeling like you have failed in some way, shape, or form. And that might be what's making you feel a little bit weaker or unlucky in some way. And I think, just keep in mind that being able to walk away from feeling stuck like that, or kind of give yourself an opportunity to experience the inner portions versus just the outer layers of something, is actually probably going to make you feel a lot of freedom and a lot more ability to circulate or have experienced blessings in other places in your life. It's also striking to me here that this is, it kind of looks like a smile, a right side up smile here. And I don't know why I'm seeing somebody salivating at the mouth. So you might have an ability to go ahead and find something new, a new platter of food that you like to eat a lot more than what you expected if you're willing to keep an open mind when you look at the menu. Here I'm seeing an upside down smile, like a sad face, and if this is something, if what other people tell you or perceive as being lucky is not making you happy, if it's making you feel weak, maybe you tried a birthday cake or something like that, right? And instead of it making you feel lucky and happy and like your birthday is being celebrated thoroughly, maybe you didn't like the way that it tasted. And it made you feel a little bit woozy afterwards, almost like you were diabetic or something like that. This is something that you can change for yourself. And there are lots of different flavors of cake. There are ways that you can make cakes with soy options, with coconut options, like milk, different types of milk, different types of flour. There's garbanzo flour, there's rice flour, it just really depends. There are definitely choices out there. So just keep that in mind when you're considering these two things, Pisces. And then Friend Cluster came out with the anchor, or the grounded in the reverse. So if you're thinking about friends and those friends have pressured you to eat the kind of cake that they want you to eat, or to consider the same things that they consider lucky for yourself, and that's made you feel weak, in large part, especially if this is like a group project like we were originally speaking about, that can make you feel like you need to pull back, like you're ungrounded, like you need to pick up your bags and go somewhere, or draw the anchor back up onto the ship and continue sailing forward to a different part of the sea where you're. I don't know if you guys have seen that, The Deadliest Catch. It's actually about crab hunters, but they move their cages from different places in the ocean to other places in the ocean, depending on the way that the cages are coming back, either empty or full. So although another boat might have been in the same exact area the year before and had a really great season of just, completely full cages, tons of king crabs, and, all this other kind of positive luck associated with them, they can go back to that same place and not have any luck at all. And I think that's much what I'm trying to say here, is that if the project is not working for you, if you're not feeling totally fulfilled, if for some reason this feels like a perilous journey that's not actually working out in your favor, sometimes it is important to have the courage and the ability to just say, hey, I'm done here. I don't want to waste any more time trying to catch crabs the same place that someone else did. I'm going to go ahead and take my boat somewhere else as the captain of my own ship, and hopefully have better luck elsewhere. So you might need to feel a little bit more independent. Don't go so much with what everyone else is telling you to do. Look a little bit more on the inside of yourself and make your decisions based off of what keeps you grounded, or what keeps you adventurous, depending on your own goal. Then I have here turbulence and the friendship. This is interesting to me that these two came out kind of next to each other. Sometimes in friendship, when things are feeling turbulent, you need to take a little break from each other. And it doesn't mean that it's a permanent break. It doesn't mean you'll never speak to each other again. But it does help to take a little rest and to kind of have a moment of reevaluation to say, hey, what is working for me in this relationship and what's not working for me in the relationship. If, for example, somebody has told you, no, I will not move where we're fishing at the moment. Okay. Well, instead of you saying, hey, I'm, getting into a huge argument, trying to drive home your point over and over and over and over again, sometimes it's better to just leave it for the time being and go out again by yourself at a later point in time. Don't take a friend so that there's no turbulence. Just don't take a friend so there's no turbulence, and literally go fishing by yourself. See whether or not you can map out, based off of your own intuition, based off of your own success rates in certain areas, the better way for you to move. And if that's something that works out for you, then you'll know exactly why you were not feeling attracted to that friendship in the beginning or to that specific fishing site, and you will have achieved blessings again, whereas before you were feeling rather unlucky. That might definitely be something that's kind of pulling on you at this time, is the juxtaposition between keeping everybody or the whole happy, everyone in a group happy, versus yourself, and finding that happy middle ground. And so I just think that's kind of what I'm getting from this read here. I am going to use the animal cards just to see what they can tell us about future advice for the Pisces in finding their own luck and finding their own middle ground and in finding their own deadliest catch. This one flipped. Oh, okay. So the birds came out in reverse. This symbolism is soul, divinity, liberation, creativity, and rebirth. So I think that's largely what I was talking about before. Birds are obviously very independent creatures. They hunt for themselves. As soon as they grab a fish out of the water, they eat it. They don't necessarily go take it back to another bird unless it's their own nest. So I am just seeing here this as being the nest, and that the bird might be rather unlucky if they decide to start fishing together. They can all fish in the same area if that's an area where there tends to be a lot of fish. However, you don't necessarily always see, fishes taking care of the old or their neighboring fishes or their neighboring birds with the fish that they've already caught. You do see them taking it back to their own nest and fishing for themselves. So that's largely why I'm thinking that this might be kind of upside down at the moment. It says winged creatures are powerful symbols in many cultures around the globe, often representing deities of other supernatural beings. Through flight, birds symbolize liberation and link the upper spiritual and lower earthly worlds. Okay, so that kind of goes to show that this right here is a combination of both. If you look at this as being, you've got to have a nest to come back to, or a home base within your own self, in your own mind, that feels good, that, you can experience success, that you can experience prosperity, etc., etc. But also birds lift off. They don't ever just put their anchor down in one place while they're hunting or while they're out away from their young. They kind of keep it moving. If they're always looking for, some fish or some insects to catch or some kind of grub to take hold of and then go give it to themselves. They're at home. They eat it for themselves, or they take it back to their nest. And that is kind of what I'm seeing here, is that upper realm is a spiritual realm. So being able to fill their own stomachs first, and then being able to also catch enough to bring back to their nest, both. They're, by bringing it back to the nest, they're staying grounded. They are continuing their own bloodline, their own, their eggs are going to then be able to be nurtured and have everything that they need to hatch and be successful birds of their own. But at the same time, they're also connected to themselves in that they're not going to starve themselves. It's self-love first. I'm also just hearing here on the airplane, they oftentimes say, put your own mask on before helping anybody else. And that is literally what I think birds do. We're not birds, so obviously don't go out and act like a bird. But in a certain regard, it is important to be able to preserve your own energy and your own resources, your own nutrients for yourself instead of always giving it away to others. That sometimes can make you feel as though you're resenting something or some kind of an overextension of yourself. That's not very lucky, and it just means you're at risk of overextending yourself to the point where you no longer feel like participating in other people's activities or other people's opinions, or necessarily even visiting their homes, or helping to kind of anchor with others the earthly and spiritual realms. So that's kind of what I'm seeing here. I don't actually feel that we need to pull another animal card. I think that just basically sums that up. So anyway, Pisces, have a good one, and we'll be back next time to continue. Bye.